I'm Justin Antwell. Mental health is an important part of our child or teen's overall health and well-being. Being in the proper frame of mind can have a positive impact on one's performance, whether that be academically, socially, and athletically. And with the start of school, adolescents will be experiencing new things and putting themselves in a position to face new challenges. We've gathered our own panel of experts to discuss this important topic and how you can support our youth during hard times. Today's topics will include school safety, academic pressures, and navigating social media. This evening, we're starting things off with Overcomers Counseling owner and therapist Jennifer Lutman, longtime friend of Fox 21. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
You guys have been around for 6 years. Just big picture, what's the overall mission and what services do you guys offer, Jennifer?
Yeah, our mission at Overcomers is to hire staff that is passionate about helping clients become overcomers themselves. It's really about offering them the tools so that they can take it and move forward with a better life.
And in terms of services, what services do you guys offer?
Yeah. We offer a range of services. So first and foremost, we have in-person sessions and we have virtual sessions.
Wow.
So you can come into the office and sit right next to your therapist, or if you prefer that virtual where you're at home in the comfort of your own space, you can do that as well. We offer individual therapy sessions, couples, and family sessions. So we like to cover that whole gamut. And we also offer a whole age range that we can service. So we start at 3 and all the way on up to that elderly population. We really do want, if someone is reaching out for help, to be able to say, yeah, we've got someone for you.
You can literally overcome any challenge at Overcomers.
Right,
All right,
right.
let's specifically focus on children and their mindset. Now that school is well underway, how can children and parents be prepared to face issues of school safety, such as school violence, bullying, and overall emotional well-being, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's such a big topic.
Sure.
We could spend hours talking about that. But really, first and foremost, I think the most important thing is to have open communication, right? To be talking about this. It's so awesome that you guys are doing this so that we can have a space where we say, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's be open. Let's be honest about what's going on. The world's a scary place right now.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, so first and foremost, opening up those lines of communication with your kiddos. Let them know you're there. You care about what's going on in their day-to-day lives. You want to know, are they feeling safe? Are they being bullied, right? Are there things that are happening that you're unaware of? And so part of what parents can do is get involved. Right? Be a part of that school. Be a part of understanding what are their safety protocols. What are the things that the school does in an emergency situation so that you know, so that you can be at home walking your kid through that, right? And letting your kid know how important that is. It's important when they do fire drills and they do lockdown drills that you're paying attention, right? They seem silly and like a waste of time, but they're really not. They're something we need to pay attention to and actively participate in. So heaven forbid, if something were to happen, we know what to do.
And I completely agree. The human element's really important. Like, it's not just diagnosing an 8x11 piece of paper. You've got to get that interpersonal communication. All right, so from the adult's point of view, what kind of conversations should parents be having with their kids when they come home from school to make sure everything is all right? Kind of like what I was saying before, that human element's important.
It's absolutely important. And I think as parents, it's really easy, and educators as well, to just ask, how was your day? Right?
Yeah, it's that simple.
It's really simple. But that can also elicit a one-word response, right? I know my kid gets in the car and I'm like, how was your day? Fine.
Teenagers,
right? Boring. I'm like, okay, that's not helpful.
Where's
right?
my phone, Mom? Right.
Exactly. Stop talking to me. But really, we need to start asking those open-ended questions to get our kiddos to start sharing about what's going on. So instead of how was your day, we can ask questions like, was there something really funny that happened with your friend group today, right?
It's a good icebreaker.
Yeah, it helps them to open up. It can be, if there was one thing you would change about your day today, what would that be, right? It can be, was there anything that happened at school today that you want to tell me about? Right? Showing them that genuine interest. Again, not just how are your grades? Did you get that F up, right?
Right.
Those are okay. Those are not bad things, but we really want to dig deeper. We really want to know what's going on their day-to-day lives.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. So what's the earliest age a child could come to your office and receive guidance? I heard you said 3 years old. So what possibly could a 3-year-old be receiving? They're not even in preschool yet.
Right, yes. That's a confusing concept for some people. But yes, 3 years old is the youngest we say that we'll see, but that doesn't mean every 3-year-old is going to meet the qualifications, right? So a 3-year-old is going to be brought in by their parent. The therapist is going to talk with them about what is going on. What are those life stressors? What are the things that are occurring that make you think your child maybe needs some additional support that you may not be able to provide, right? And really, we're not talking about adult therapy, talk therapy, right? We're talking about play therapy. So children's language is play, right? So they're going to be engaging in play activities, different things, how they communicate and show us, these are the things that I'm struggling with. These are the things that are hard for me, right? And the therapist is then going to be able to assist them in working through those and coming up with solutions on their own. So again, it depends, what the child brings, what they need, and then it's going to be a collaborative effort between the client, the parent, and that therapist to decide, is this the right fit? Or do we possibly need to look at some other recommendations for some services that might be better age appropriate than traditional play therapy right now?
And at that age, you're probably dissecting body language too.
For sure.
That's probably a huge thing to look at as well.
Absolutely.
All right, when you are dealing with a new client, what's the first appointment all about so you can get a feel for the client's wants and needs? Because every human is different, we know that.
Yes, absolutely. It really is a collaborative session between the client and the therapist. So it's the therapist asking the client basic questions. What brings you in? What are the things that you're facing in your day-to-day life? They're going to gather some history, right? It's going to help them understand you as a whole, because there's more to you than just the thing that's going on today, right? So they're going to be asking those types of questions, but I think it's also really important to remember as the client that this is your time to interview that clinician, right? You get to ask those questions. What do you like working with? What are you passionate about? What's your training? What's your background? Because the most important piece of this is that connection between the client and the therapist is there. And so the client needs to feel that. And that simple little piece is what makes it successful or not successful. So collaborate, right? Make sure that this is your time to find the person that you feel like you can trust, that you can open up to and communicate with. And receive feedback from, too. That's going to be an important part of the process.
And your team's incredible because you make every client feel like the most important person in the world. There's a reason why you have over 500 five-star reviews. What made you want to start this 6 years ago? You're the pride of UCCS. I mean, Colorado Springs means a lot to you, Jennifer.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, my husband and I were noticing that there was a need in the community for access, right? We were hearing people that were calling in, wanting help, needing help, and they were being told, we can't help you, or we can put you on a wait list, and we can see you in 3 to 6 months, right?
That's too long.
That's too long.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're in need right now, telling me, I can see you in 6 months, it feels awful, feels absolutely awful. So that's really what was the motivation behind let's start a company that we can offer services right away, that it's easily accessible, it's not hard to find, it's not hard to get to. We have really great locations and spaces all across the city, in other cities as well, so that it can be easily accessible and that you're not going to call and hear that 6 months, right? You're going to hear, yeah, we've got someone for you, and they can see you this week or next week, really timely, so that you can jump in and get going right away.
You're a tremendous leader, and all permeates throughout your teammates as well. If you're interested in services from Jennifer and her wonderful team at Overcomers Counseling for you and your kids, the website is overcomewithus.com. You can also call them at the number on the bottom of your screen as well. You're watching a primetime panel, Let's Talk Mental Health Back to School. We'll be right back with Jennifer after the break, this time to talk about academic pressures and the impact social media has on kids and teens these days. Welcome back to our primetime panel on mental health back to school. Before the break, we discussed how parents can start the conversation of school safety with their kids. Jennifer is still with us here to talk about how academic pressures and social media can affect the mental well-being of your kids. Jennifer, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, look, the 2025-26 academic calendar is well underway. There is so much happening with students in and out of the classroom. What are the early warning signs of burnout or anxiety that parents and teachers should look for?
Yeah. There really are so many, so I'm just gonna, hit the tip of the iceberg here, and know that, again, these aren't all of them, but some really important things to pay attention to first and foremost is a change in your child or your student, right? So if they show up as this happy-go-lucky kid, they're always excited to go to school, they tell you all about their friends, right? And then all of a sudden there's this shift where I'm not really wanting to go to school, maybe this doesn't seem that fun, maybe I don't really like my friends, right? It's those subtle little shifts that we need to start paying attention to. That can be they're starting to isolate, they're starting to come home and maybe go right to their room instead of staying up with the family and talking. That can be physical things where all of a sudden maybe I'm getting a headache a lot, or my tummy hurts, or I start to get phone calls from the nurse, right, that say, hey, your kiddo's in the nurse's station, and that's not normal. That's not something that your kid has been doing. Those are the things we need to start paying attention to. Academically, you might have a kiddo who is a straight A student, loves school, right? Like, oh, I love it. And then all of a sudden they're coming home with C's. And you're like, what's going on here, right? Those are those warning signs that we need to start paying attention to, that something has changed, right? It may be normal. It may be nothing, right? It may just be your kid maturing, changing, growing, hormones, who knows, right? But the idea is, let's talk about it. Let's address that. Let's bring it up and say, I'm noticing this is going on. Is there something you want to talk about? Because that can help us catch something really early on and prevent it from turning into something much bigger down the road. And having that, space with your child where they're feeling like, okay, mom and dad are tuned in. They see some change in me. It's really important to them.
Yeah, nip it in the bud before it's too late. All right, technology is becoming so advanced. You and I probably grew up with Etch-a-Sketches, but now kids at the dinner table have iPads at the age of 5. So what are the significant trends or issues you're seeing in students who are actively engaged in social media and digital screens? Because times are different than when you and I were in school in the late 90s.
Oh, very much so. There's a lot of trends. Again, I'm just going to hit a few. But the first one that I think is kind of taking center stage is this idea of comparison, right? Kids get on their iPads, their phones, whatever the case may be, on all these different digital platforms, and they see these amazing lives, right?
The Instagram models.
Yes, exactly. It's filtered. It's only, our amazing vacation that we took. It's only on the day that I look perfect, right? Nobody posts the day I came home with a D+ on my chemistry exam because, oops, I forgot to fail. And now I might not have to, or I might not be able to play in the game tonight because I might be ineligible, right? No one snaps that photo and posts it up there for kids to see. So it's just completely unrealistic. And we can start to compare ourselves to that and say, I'll never measure up to that. I'll never be able to do that. My family can't afford this, right? And that starts to build isolation. That starts to hurt our self-esteem, right? Because I'm not good enough. I'm not them. And that is harmful in so many ways. It can affect our sleep, which we all know. Sleep is huge. We all need to be sleeping. It can also affect our ability to want to engage in the things we need to be engaging in, right? The activities that are actually really supportive of our mental well-being. So that's kind of the first trend I see. The second trend that I see is cyberbullying. And this is not new. We've been dealing with this for quite a while. But the thing that really stands out to me is that, like you said, back in the 90s, if we were being bullied, it was maybe, on the playground as a kid, right? Or someone wrote you a nasty letter, or they were in the hallway and they were all, talking, and it was confined. It was to a few people, right? But nowadays with cyberbullying, I post something nasty and it's anonymous, right? And then that spreads like wildfire. And now the whole school's looking at me. The whole school's whispering about me, right? And then I take that home, right? That didn't happen before because we didn't have cell phones.
Oh no.
So they take that home with them, and then they're looking at it and they're reading every mean comment and every share, and they're just, right, all the way down to the bottom. They feel awful, and they can't get rid of that. They can't leave that at school because, again, it shows up at home in this device. So now there's no place for safety. My house isn't safe. My bedroom isn't safe. This place that I used to have that was mine and protected from the outside world isn't anymore, right? So we just don't have that. And that is a huge difference for our kids. Again, inundated, right? It doesn't ever stop. It's just constant. And that is something, again, that can really wreak havoc on children's mental health.
So Jennifer, does more screen time affect a child's mental health positively or negatively, big picture? Or does it depend on the situation?
Well, of course it depends,
Yeah.
right? There's good and bad. We don't want to say that, that screen time is bad all the time or that it's the evil thing. No, there are really great pieces of information and great apps and great platforms out there that our kids can learn and grow from. So it's not, all or nothing, black or white. There is some gray space, but I think what's really important is that we as parents, as teachers, as friends, right, are paying attention to the quality, the quantity, and what it is that they're spending that time on, right? And it's not just about time. Yes, we want to limit that time because there's plenty of evidence out there and research that shows that it has a negative impact on our children. So we do want to limit that, but we also want to be paying attention to, again, what it is that they're doing during that time. Some of the positive things, right, are friends and family that are far away.
That's a good point.
We get an opportunity to engage with them.
FaceTime.
Yeah. Back in our day, if our best friend moved away, how devastating was that?
You had to go to the post office to write a letter. You did.
Write a letter. And probably that friendship was going to end, right? Because the reality is it's hard to maintain that kind of friendship. But nowadays you can, right?
that's a good
That's
point.
amazing. You don't have to have that, my friend left and now I have to find a new friend. You get to keep that friend, right? So there's positives, there's great things, but the research shows that overall there's a lot more negative than there is positive effect of our kids being on that screen time.
Hey, we're in Colorado. Go hang out outside.
Yes.
Beautiful views out here.
Right?
So
Yes.
speaking of that, so what activities do you recommend for parents to do with their kids in order to avoid video games or iPads? Maybe like dinner table, like have conversations, dinner table, go outside. What are you thinking?
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You stole two right off my list.
I love it out here.
Yeah, it is. It's Colorado, right? Get outside. Even right now, it's fall. The leaves are going to be changing. Like there is nothing better than going for a hike right now in Colorado. But these can be really simple things, right? Teaching your kids how to cook. Life skills, right? Eventually these little guys are going to grow up and hopefully spread their wings and fly, right? And they need those skills. Take the time to teach them how to do the laundry, play not video games, play card games, board games with them, right? Go invest in a sport. Pickleball, right? All the rage. Like go play pickleball.
Teamwork's so important to learn,
Yes.
too. That's why sports are great to me.
So great, right? You have to engage. You have to make some face-to-face connection, some eye connection. Do those things with your kiddos. A really great way to do that is to engage your child in that decision, right? Like, hey, we've been really on our phones a lot. What do you think are 2 things we could do this weekend that are not screen time? And then do one of them. Do something that they
Go to
recommend.
Garden of the Gods, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Get them out of their screen time so that they don't see that as a punishment. It's not, I'm taking your screen time away. Instead, I'm replacing it with something that's going to give you something else, right? It's going to give you rest, relaxation, things that you cannot possibly get from a screen.
Look, you've been such a successful therapist, counselor, and a listener. How does it make you feel when you see someone, overcome their challenges and no longer need therapy after going to your services for quite some time?
Yeah, the best. I mean, it's absolutely why we're in the industry that we're in. It's because we want to see people make that change, right? And it's not about me. It's not about the therapist. It's about that person. They're the one that had to put that hard work in. They have to do that heavy lifting of showing up, being vulnerable, sharing really deep, personal, painful things sometimes, being willing to have the courage to share deep fears that you might have. to be a part of that and watch someone transform in that way, and then show up with this resilience that I can do this, I can make these changes, and I want to, and I see that in my future, right? Oh, that is the best thing ever. You see them latch on to that strength, their own personal strength and their own ability and capability to change. There's just nothing better than that.
A lot of great insight this evening, Jennifer. Jennifer and her team at Overcomers Counseling are here to help you and your kids if you're interested in learning more. The website is overcomewithus.com. You can also call them at the number that you see on your screen as well. Jennifer, is there anything you want to leave the viewers with? A lot of insight this evening thus far.
Yeah, I think the thing I was thinking about is really this is a stressful time of year. You know, it is back to school, sports are starting up, there's just go, go, go constantly. And just that reminder that you don't have to do it alone, right? If you're facing a struggle, and that can be a wide array of struggles that life is presenting, don't feel like you have to do it on your own. That's why we're here. That's why we created Overcomers, is so that we can partner with you, we can help you set some achievable goals, and we can help you reach them. So, you know, reach out, give us a call, get online and check us out, and we want to help you find that better life.
You can overcome all your obstacles with Jennifer and her amazing team. You're watching a primetime panel on mental health back to school. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our primetime panel, Let's Talk Mental Health Back to School. As we close this special, we are joined by Jennifer Grubb, Director of Counseling at Fountain Valley School. She's here to give parents some final advice on the best ways to comfort your kids during those stressful times. Jennifer, good evening.
Good evening.
So what are the best ways for parents to kind of comfort their kids this time of year?
I think ultimately finding a way to connect about the things that are important to them. You know, each individual student is going to have their unique set of challenges, and so I think understanding how those things come together and finding ways to connect about how to have those conversations.
As a counselor, how do you have such a slow heartbeat when things can be stressful around you? You're that calming influence at Fountain Valley.
We have to be. I think, you know, some of it comes in modeling too. That things can be stressful and we can move our way through them. I think that's an important skill to model as well.
What kind of conversation should be had at the dinner table?
And anything that's relevant. No, I think it's starting by, you know, what happened during the day. There's a lot that you can get by having the conversation about the daily stuff to set the stage to get to some of the deeper conversations.
Why do you love your job so much? I mean, you're making a tangible impact on the next generation.
Why do I love it? I get the ability to connect with young people in ways that parents may or may not be able to. Sometimes they want a sounding board before they have that conversation at home. And so that's one of the things that's most rewarding for me.
Awesome, Jennifer. Great insight this evening. Thanks for joining us for the special presentation of Fox 21 News. Let's Talk Mental Health Back to School. To learn more about these subjects and our mental health discussions we've had throughout the evening, just go to our website, fox21news.com. Have a good evening.